Booyaka right back at you. It's Eric. Today we're going to do something a little different. I feel like I've been getting a little too into the corona thing. So today we are going to shift gears a little bit. Literature Friday, we are going to join the book club of Eric Wood. Maybe I have some suggestions for you that may be of interest. It's always great to pick up a good book and make sure you still remember how to read. So here's a couple books that I like to have hanging out in the old homestead. Let's see what first book we've got here. The creative process. The creative process. What happens in the mind of a writer when he writes, a painter when he paints, a composer when he composes, a scientist when he evolves a new hypothesis? Or your average Joe when he sits down to take a dump? Boring. I don't want it. I'm not feeling it right now. Not feeling creative, and I could care less how you get creative. Okay? Let's see. Number 2, you never know when you need to give yourself a vasectomy. The dog needs a heart transplant. Mom broke her arm. The good old red handbook of surgery, found in almost all surgical residents. In that front pocket of theirs that's weighed down with 20,000 pens and other charts and graphs is the surgeon's handbook as they furiously look up the procedure they're supposed to assist on momentarily. This book is actually kind of interesting. I like reading it. I was really into anatomy. I went to school at UCSD, graduated pre-med, and believe it or not, my first real job was in the Department of Surgery at the School of Medicine there at UCSD. I started volunteering as a sophomore there in the Department of Surgery, Division of Anatomy. Fun factoid, somebody who you all may know. His father was the head of the department at this time and was a world-renowned surgeon. He pioneered some very interesting and novel techniques for transplantation of the liver, and that would be Dr. Halaz. So that would be Peter Halaz's father, who I was fortunate enough to meet prior to his passing. And he gave me quite a bit of advice as far as my contemplation of going to medical school. Great guy. Anyways, not feeling that right now. Not feeling very technical. This one is a classic. You cannot go wrong with this book. There's not even a introduction sufficient enough for me to tell you how overwhelmingly excited I am to share this with you. And that is, what's your poo telling you? A great read from beginning to end. And I'm going to actually take you on a journey where we're going to explore some of the nomenclature involved with taking a crap and some of the details. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of those turd burglars. We all do it. We don't like to admit that we do it. Some don't do it in front of their significant others. Some do it with the door closed. Some do it with the door open. Some wipe front to back. Some wipe back to front. I guess if you're a girl, that's not the case. But guys, there's a major predicament going on with the front, back front wipe. Look it up online when you're alone, of course. But I'm just going to kind of get into it here a little bit and read along with you here. First, let me read the back for you. Like a snowflake, each poo has a wondrous uniqueness. But what does it mean? Joss Richmond and Dr. Anish Seth have written a tell-all tribute to poo that demystifies the inner workings of the digestive tract and explains your health by what you see in the bowl. Here's just, we're going to go over a little bit of the nomenclature involved with the turds so that we're on the same page before we get into the nitty-gritty. For instance, floaters versus sinkers, self-explanatory. Floaters rise to the top, sinkers dive to the bottom like a submarine that's sinking. The monster poo, it's a bad one. We'll get into that later. The pebble poo, we've all had them, you know, a gazillion little pebbles all lined up in a row, often coming out independently, or sometimes they coagulate as a whole and it looks like a big poo consisting of a lot of little poos. The hanging chad, named after that hell of an election debacle we had with Bush back there in Florida and his brother. The hanging chad is just no good no matter how you look at it. Poo-phoria. Who doesn't love a little poo-phoria? And the honeymoon's over poo. That's just to wet your whistle. We're gonna get into some good stuff here in a second. How about this first one? The deja poo. We all know what the deja poo is, right? You look down, you take a look at your turd. Why is it that we look at our turds? Everyone takes a quick glance. It's not like you study it, but you take a look at what you made and you stare in bewilderment. Sometimes you're proud, sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're sad and full of pain. But the deja poo, you look down and you say, haven't I seen that before? What the heck? And perhaps the most notorious deja poo is the corn deja poo. So you get my drift now. The poo has remnants of undigested food that you eaten previously, and they're obviously visible in the turd that you just extracted from your body. A deja poo is a bowel movement that has remarkably familiar portions of a recent meal embedded in it. It can be a potpourri of colors, often containing pieces of vegetable and other items that look as though they don't belong among the mass of poo in which they're entrenched. When producing this kind of turd, you may wonder whether you chewed sufficiently or whether your body even extracted any of the nutrients from the food you just ate, considering they look to be whole in the turd that's laying in the bottom of your toilet. You also may wonder how your body can process heavy meats and pasta, but a little kernel of corn is giving it hell, and it just cannot deal with it. That is the deja poo. I'm going to come in every once in a while with a little turd nugget as well. That's just a little extra bit of information for you to take home with you and share with the kids. The amount of stool expelled per day actually varies from country to country, believe it or not. For instance, South Asians unload nearly 3 times as much poo as their British counterparts. And why is that, you may ask? Well, the difference is largely due to high fiber content in the average Indian diet, allowing them to just have a craptacular amount of poo, 3 times the amount of poo as the average Brit who eats just crappy food all day. Ooh, whoa, the monster poo, aka the Lincoln Log, the crowd pleaser, the double deuce, or the 5-minute diet, as some women like to call it, or men, women, whomever. So you may wonder, how did something this freaking large come out of me? It felt like I was giving birth. When you're sitting on the toilet and vigorously straining to discharge a poo of this side, you feel like the turd took a wrong turn and is like attempting to come out sideways like a breech birth or something like that. It doesn't feel right. It feels wrong in every way. Sometimes you feel the veins in your head swelling, your forehead starts to bead with perspiration. And you toil to force this mass of poo out of your system. There's just nothing good comes of the double deuce. And like I said, it's called the 5-minute diet because sometimes after this sucker finally exits, you feel like you lost some weight. You got a little pep in your step when you get up from the bowl. And you look down and you're like, it's got to be like 3 or 4 pounds. Maybe even jump on the scale in celebration and do a little, I just had a real heavy poo dance. But sometimes, and I've personally have experienced this, the poo is so large and so mystifying, you're almost proud of it, and you want to consider maybe even summoning a friend or family member to witness this sucker, because this could be Guinness Book of World Record shit, and you need to consult someone before you actually give them a call and say, hey, come check this turd out. It is award-winning. Well, like I said, they're not always the easiest to discharge, but there's always a feeling of accomplishment and pride after one of these masses is ejected from your body. In addition to the massive girth of these monster poos, the monster poo's most characteristic feature is its tendency to extend beyond the water surface. It's like a magic trick, but with poo. Most of them are sinkers or floaters, but this sucker, sometimes it dives all the way into the hole and pokes out of the water. If that's the case, you may want to consider calling the Guinness Book of World Records, because you could have a legitimate contender. When you cannot see the front side of it because it is so deep in the bowl, but the top side is waving hello out of the water to you, you could have a world record on your hands. That's some serious business, okay? Don't pass that medal up. But then the fear sets in. What the fuck is going to happen to this thing when I try and flush it? Should I go grab a knife and chop it up? I do not want to plunge the toilet. That is no fun. Nobody likes plunging the toilet, right? But you do it. You do it anyways. You do it. And there's a 50-50 chance that sucker just refuses to go. It's like it has arms and it's scraping on the side of the toilet bowl saying, no, look at me one more time. I am huge. Other times it just slips away quietly into the dark void. Despite separation anxiety, after getting rid of this thing, I recommend promptly flushing. Don't look back. Keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. No one wants to get that toilet brush out and start knocking it down the old toilet. Anyways, that's the monster poo. We've got Pooforia, the holy crap, the mood enhancer, the tingler. Always a doozy. This poo can turn an atheist into a believer in a heartbeat, just by the sense of euphoria and ecstasy you feel throughout your body as this type of feces departs your bumhole. The exhilaration from this defecation, large in volume but varying in form, is often accompanied by goosebumps, like you've had a religious experience. Maybe even a little lightheadedness. That's because you're discharging a bunch of toxins out of your body, and your body's like, oh my God, I can't believe that dude held on to that turd for so long. We were redigesting it, and it was slowly killing us. But afterwards, oh God, you feel energized. You almost feel like you woke up from a big nap. You may even hop up and have a little pep in your step after that old Pooforia dumper comes out. But to some, it may feel like an orgasm. And to a lucky handful, just a lucky handful. Maybe you're one of the lucky few. I've never experienced this myself, but I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I get to experience one sometime within my lifetime. It's those people that have not only a religious experience, but an orgasm also. The feeling of an orgasm. It's like a double whammy. It is amazing, and it will turn a non-believer into a believer. Like the dudes who knock on my door every Sunday trying to recruit me to Team Jesus. Which is fine. I just don't. It's like, I think that's kind of rude. Like, you're assuming I haven't found my way in life and have, kind of had my conversation with my maker. You feel it necessary to come and enlighten me every Sunday. Like, I can get the job done, okay? I got it handled. Thanks, but no thanks. Anyways. Poo Nugget. Ancient Egyptian tombs had special little toilet chambers for the pharaohs to use on their way to the afterlife. So, after the pharaoh died, I'll tell you what, taking off all that wrapping, when they mummify them before you got to take a crap is a pain in the ass on the way to the afterlife. I'll tell you that much, no pun intended. We got the traditional performance-enhancing poo, aka anxiety poo, preparatory poo, running runs, the pregame poo. Anyone who's participated in athletics knows of this poo and is very familiar with its characteristics. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's triggered by nerves before a big game. But inevitably, the pregame poo is a standard both for competitive athletes and people with high-pressure presentations looming on the horizon. You never want to have to take a break in the middle of a key proposal or sale, and it would be unheard of to call a timeout for a mid-game shitter. You can't tell coach, you know what, I gotta drop a deuce, call timeout, I'll be right back. No, not gonna happen. So, with empty bowels, you feel prepared for whatever challenge lays ahead of you. And unplanned performance-enhancing poos often take on a more liquid consistency than their planned counterparts. So that's when you get the pregame jitters and you don't typically take a poo before the game. 9 times out of 10, that is going to be liquid, not solid, and you're bummed. I never recover from a liquid unless I shower. It doesn't matter. You could be a first-class wiper. It's just, you cannot return your bum to normal unless it is doused with water. On to the next one. Floaters and sinkers, we all know these. Aircraft carrier versus submarine, the buoy versus the anchor. I don't even need to go into any further detail. You get the picture on that one, right? Right. Oh, we got the Braille poo, aka the Baby Ruth, the Porcupine, or the Rocky Road. This one's a doozy. Despite the fact that all poo follows the same route through the GI tract before coming to rest in your toilet bowl, individual bowel movements can have markedly different textures. While some movements are smooth and silky, others take on a more angular and bumpy appearance. The Braille poo can be identified by its rough, uneven texture on the surface. And passing of these uneven poos makes you wonder what causes this type of potholed feces and why they all can't achieve the honeyed smoothness of previous poos. Well, it's important to accept that just some of the roads are well paved while others are gravel and cobblestone. That's as simple as that. You got smooth ones, you got not so smooth ones. Just deal with it, bro. Poo nugget. Studies of healthy subjects have revealed a wide variation in stool frequency. The current accepted range for normal is from 3 bowel movements per day to 3 bowel movements per week. What? That doesn't seem right. Is this poo nugget correct? 3 times a week? That seems like it's like you're holding out, you know? Let that shit go. Don't be holding on to it. No bueno, amigo. Get rid of it. This is not correct. I'm gonna have to write the publisher on this one, I think. Yeah. Oh, the Chinese star. Fly, aka the Dorito, the iceberg, the glass shard, or the mystery poo. It's a horrible thing. This poo's defining characteristic is the excruciatingly painful sensation of feeling like your rectum is being torn apart from the inside as the turd exits your body. No bueno, amigo, no bueno. Me duele mi pupu, okay? Me duele mi pupu. At times, the stool's appearance can be a source of bewilderment. As we hold back the flow of tears, our awareness quickly shifts to the identification of the offending particle in the bowl. The mounting rage, however, is diffused when we gaze into the waters, only to see some small, insignificant, seemingly innocuous turd resting peacefully on the bottom of the toilet bowl. And you're like, what the fuck? That was that thing. It felt like somebody stuck a light bulb in my butt, smashed it, and then pulled it out. And now I look down in the toilet only to find a little silky hanging out inconspicuously, like it withdrew all of its spikes into its main body just to laugh at you when you look down at it. But more often than not, maybe you got one of those suckers, you know? That's a no bueno. That's no good, right? Not good at all. Oh, the Rambo poo, aka the the chocolate sundae with strawberry sauce, the Neapolitan poo. This one, I don't even like talking about this one, okay? We all get it. With strawberry sauce, all right? On rare instances, you may look down into the old bowl and it is not just brown. There may be traces of red. Need I say more? If you are pooing blood, consult your physician, please. Please consult su physicione, su doctor. Porque tú tienes un problema con su cuello y la roja no está buena, ¿ok? Ok. Muchas gracias. Poo nugget. One of the most distressing complications of inflammatory bowel disease is the formation of fistulae, which are abnormal connections. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Which are abnormal connections between the diseased intestine and surrounding abdominal organs. These atypical conditions are often discovered when a stool is seen exiting the body from such unusual locations as the abdominal wall. Yeah, I'd say that is notice for concern when you're shitting out of your stomach instead of your butthole. We got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I have shit coming out of my stomach, and I'm pretty sure Mom never told me that that was okay. So, another instance where you want to go check out Doc. Tell him your shit's coming out of your stomach for some reason. In most cases, this bleeding can be resolved by a colonoscopy to visualize the interior of the GI tract and see what's going on. Oh boy, if I shit, what if you're shitting and the shit just started coming out of your belly button? Just, oh, that'd be horrible. Oh, the old numero tres, the number 3, the butt piss, liquid poo, the runs, oil spill, Hershey squirts, Montezuma's revenge, chocolate thunder, diarrhea, cha-cha-cha, Operation marination, Operation evacuation, releasing the hounds, the Nile, poo stew, chocolate slurpee, gravy poo, birds flying south for the winter, rectum rapids, it's rain and poo, hallelujah, the deuce juice and the turd tea, just to name a few. You may have your own special name for the number 3. That even rhymed, bro. You're on it. Although you know that you need to sit down for this weird deposit, number 3 comes in liquid form and has little to no texture. There's nothing more exhilarating. No, it's not exhilarating at all. More fearful, and promotes feelings of terror when you know you've got a liquid on deck. I mean, the audacity of your GI tract to just load you up with liquid rage. That's what I like to call it personally. And the number 3 never comes out smooth. It is almost always associated with a violent explosion at first, and gaseousness associated with it. So if the liquid poo wasn't bad enough, you now are projectiling liquid poo at rates far exceeding the speed of a normal solid, which just makes for no good. The splash factor increases exponentially with the old numero trace, and inevitably you are going to be wiping your butt cheeks, possibly your lower back if you get real busy, with toilet poo water because of the projectile force in which some of these number 3s are able to exit the old bum. As you feel its sudden onset, your sense of relief that you made it to the toilet in time is quickly replaced by the ill feeling associated with the beginning of a number 3. It's like a mystery. It's like a mystery grab bag. You never know what you're going to get. Could kind of just drop in there and things are going to be all right. There could be a huge fart associated with it that causes a massive increase in velocity, which in turn causes a miniature tidal wave to erupt from your toilet and completely engorge your entire rear. No good across the board. Disaster to clean up. My personal recommendation, hop in the shower, buddy. You cannot recover with TP from an incident like that. Okay? Do yourself a favor and hop in the shower. And at times the splatter's so great, you have to wipe remnants off your butt cheeks when you're finished. Any way you look at it, number 3s aren't pleasant. Super lame. Uh-oh, no, poo nugget, the long bomb. On thankfully rare occasions, stool is expelled in an uncontrollable and violent manner. This explosion of gas and liquid almost always occurs in the setting of gastrointestinal infection. However, our ability as a species to violently expel our poo, even a few inches, is severely limited. Go ahead and try it, dude. Doesn't matter. You could have the biggest fart on deck and the most aerodynamic turd you've ever produced, and it's just not going anywhere, dude. That thing's just going to drop. Gravity wins always with that one. We cannot projectile poo. It's just not possible. So anyone that tells you that they can shit, like 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, compulsive liars. Don't believe anything these people say. Poos do not have that aerodynamic range. Here we go. The streaker, the skid mark, the Hershey Highway, the racing stripe, lining the pavement. This one sucks too. It inevitably happens when you're at someone's house that you don't even want them to know you're pooing, much less you streak in the toilet. And inevitably, there's nothing available within the bathroom to help you deal with this. Nobody just leaves a toilet bowl cleaner on the side of the toilet bowl expecting their guest is going to just start streaking the toilet. So this can be nerve-wracking, Usually happens on a date, going over to somebody's house who you don't know very well. The streak is a relic of prior poo, usually appearing as a thin brown stain down the center of a toilet bowl. So, this is an amazing quality, too. Some streaks even maintain their legacy and remain visible for multiple You can flush that sucker 4 times, 5 times. God damn it, that fucking streak is not going anywhere. It looks like it's getting bigger every time I flush. There's the quadruple streaker. That's commendable. You may want to show someone that. But the appearance of a racing stripe at the bottom of the bowl is the most unwelcome sight for all would-be poopers, especially when you're at a friend's dinner party. What's the first thing you do when you got a streaker? You curse that streak. God damn you, streaker. How could you do this to me? Then you start thinking. You start MacGyvering. You start thinking, fuck. What if I take my keys out and I start scraping it off the side? Oh, that's disgusting. I can't do that, Eric. What's wrong with you? Well, maybe I'm going to grab a bunch of toilet paper, wrap it around my hand 10,000 times, wipe the inside of the bowl, and then as these ideas progress deeper and darker in your head, you just are disgusted with yourself. You can't believe you didn't have a silky, smooth excrement. At this point, you'd even settle for a number 3, just a waterlog. At least you don't got skid marks hanging out after you're done. You could just wipe up the old tidal wave after and game